Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hard Things Podcast. This is your host, Blaine Burgess, and this is episode 28. Very excited for today, but per usual, going to try a little something different. Going to try to keep this short, 20 minutes today versus some of the 30-plus minute episodes I've been doing recently. Reason for that is things are heating up on this end. Chiropractic school, week 4 of this term is definitely challenged my abilities with a couple of things going on in my personal life. Just one hell of a curveball this past week. So excited to basically just stay on the path, I think life is pretty easy when it's coming at you slow, when you're just hitting the change ups. So I'm getting for those of you baseball fans out there, I'm getting a Paul Skeens fastball at the moment. 100 plus miles an hour for sure. But nothing we haven't encountered before, nothing that we can't handle. So with that said, though, we're going to keep it moving. Today, I was actually inspired. So it's Friday, September 27th. Behind a day, I had 2 exams this morning, and in a pretty long week. So not a whole lot of space to study leading up to it. So really fit it all in, and we're cranking on all cylinders. But I wanted to record this before I go to work, and then go watch one of my former professors rock out. He plays in a Chris Cornell tribute band, so I'm gonna get a little Soundgarden and some other bands from my teenage years tonight. But I woke up and the calendar that I typically look at from Sadhguru had an excellent quote. So it says, "The fight against corruption has to start within you, as integrity is an inner quality." And I feel fortunate because I feel like I was born with a good amount of integrity. I think maybe we all are. I don't know how your experience has been in your life, but when you're a kid, you kind of want the best for people. Every now and then maybe you experience a negative emotion, but in general, kids are pretty sweet. Sharing, caring, all the above. And we kind of learn through like traumas with other people, scenarios, how to be unkind. So I think that was just a reminder that I appreciated this morning, especially as I rushed off to go, do a little last minute studying for my exam. And I think first and foremost, it's a reminder that integrity and really things inside you, like it's your job. Like no one can feel your feelings and, have your internal thought process and really do it for you. I mean, you can try to consume content on social media, read books, have conversations with people, but at the end of the day, it's up to you what you assimilate and what you practice, kind of what you put one foot in front of the other and try to accomplish. So having that as your North Star, integrity, could be one really good way to make sure you're on a good path, I think. So I appreciated that. And with integrity, this is kind of a theme that's coming up for me in the last week, is are you leading, from love or for love? I think that's something you can ask yourself in almost any scenario with a person or just any job you do. It's pretty common, I think, out there when you're doing a job. There's 2 or more maybe motivations. I kind of boil it down to 2. So you're maybe doing a job just for the money, for what it affords you, life, survival in a way, kind of doing it for love, whatever love means to you. It could be just the ability to stay alive and keep it moving. It could be to get likes on social media. It could be to get certain reactions out of people. Or are you doing it from love? So if you cultivate love inside yourself, again, that integrity these inner qualities that you can work on just by yourself, and then bring that into the world, doing it from love. I think it has maybe more indirect consequences, and consequences and or benefits, and the benefits maybe don't always directly come back to you. Maybe it goes to somebody else. And human beings maybe eternally stuck in their selfish ways, maybe falling away from that integrity that we might all inherently have. I think it's easy to be selfish and maybe think like leading from love isn't worth it because it doesn't bring anything directly back to me. But I do heavily believe in making the world a better place, being that light for people. You might shine your light on someone, and then they, turn around and give that to somebody else who maybe really needs it, that you wouldn't have come into contact with. So it is a bit like an infection. Not to bring infections into it. I did have a microbiology test today, but one kind person can affect one person, but then the two of you can, and make it 4, 8, 16, you do the math. Eventually it's exponential. And that's kind of what I think of. So this week, I don't know if I'm going to do like examples per se. I think recently I've just been talking about a topic and then kind of talking about an example, but I guess if I did have to have an example, before on the podcast I've talked about my most recent relationship a little bit, and I've done a lot of reflecting on previous relationships recently, and it is very apparent, hindsight being 2020, that I've done a lot of things I've done in relationships, for love, trying to, again, like elicit a response from someone. So maybe acting a little bit out of pocket, going a little bit above and beyond to try and get a response out of someone that maybe isn't their authentic self, and being okay with that. I kind of just accepting less than I deserve. You should be able to, I think, meet someone you really enjoy spending time with and do absolutely nothing, spend absolutely zero money, and have an incredible time. And then maybe you add in, the expenses and other more complicated things later. So in the past, I've definitely, I think this is the way the dating culture has gone. I hear this from other men is, you get on a dating app or you meet someone, and kind of the first thing women do is like, they want to assess, can this guy provide for me? But I think it's more than just asking them what they do and how much money they make right now. I think a man being able to provide for you is a very deep and convoluted question, and not something that can be talked about, it may be at some, surface level, at first, but I think really having the qualities to be able to provide in a lot of ways almost requires you to be inspired by your partner to maybe reach that next level. Maybe it gives you a level of determination that you never really had before. Because it's pretty easy to satisfy myself. I know I've, in the past, definitely made enough money to easily support myself, and then you almost get unhappy because, it is just kind of easy. It's pretty simple. For me, if I have some coffee, hang out with some friends on the weekend, watch some football, I'm pretty easy to please. Maybe read a book, do some yoga, lift weights. But adding another person into the equation, might give them that motivation to really earn, kind of, and not only that, but find their true calling, and who knows what that might be for some people. So yeah, just I think my observations just have been a lot of people are doing things kind of for love, and like women want to feel loved, they want to feel provided for, but they kind of almost do that out ahead of like actually getting to know someone and see if you could do nothing and spend no money and have an excellent time. If that was true, then maybe you kind of talk about, hey, all right, how would you provide? That's like a third interview question, maybe not a first interview question, but it seems like a lot of women are leading off with that. And it's not just women, it's men too. I mean, men, a lot of times are kind of testing to see if a woman would be, kind of faithful and if they want to start a family. And quite frankly, it goes both ways. A lot of women don't want to do that because they don't think the right man exists, because they've run into so many, players or quote unquote, whatever. And then, men do that because they think they're not going to get a woman that will stay. And it's just this big, ugly cycle, negative feedback loop. And, again, everyone's kind of doing things performatively, for love with the hopes of receiving love in return. And I don't think I ever understood before that those expressions of love, because they're not from a place of like purity, like a place of like natural, again, like if you could go on a date and have a ton of fun and not like do absolutely nothing and just spend hours together, like that's kind of when, maybe you see that you could find a base to build off of. And that, I think, is kind of the definition of doing it from love. Like, you love yourself, and then, sharing that with another person and just making yourself really easy to be around. Not necessarily easy per se, but just like, because it's from a place of love, it's fun, it's light, it's happy, and it gives people, quite frankly, a break from, how tough life can be, work and other relationships and, trying to make ends meet. You get almost like a rest for a few hours, which that's kind of what your person should be, is like a place you can go to recharge, I think. So I kind of asked myself, to finish off, we got about 7 minutes to that 20-minute mark. So I asked myself, like, what do I think I did over time? Because I think, again, like, our natural state is that integrity and those positive inner qualities. Like, what did I do to get back to that? Like, how did I begin to act, from love instead of for love? And I think a big theme of it is control of a narrative or control of an outcome. And one thing I find myself, just telling myself kind of repeatedly, just reminding, is like, I don't know how it's going to turn out. And I don't know that how I want things to turn out is actually the best outcome. Like, there have definitely been ways that I could not see due to lack of information or whatever other factor. Like, my life, the way it is now, there's a lot of things that happened that I didn't know about that led me to where I'm at. And I, at this point, with hindsight, am 100% grateful for everything that happened. And if like one of those things didn't happen, I wouldn't be here doing this exact podcast while in chiropractic school, about to go coach CrossFit again, which I never thought I would do again. And going to see one of my professors play in a rock band that covers Soundgarden. It's a lot of really strange things that just happened and converged, and this is the weekend I'm about to live. And again, like, I wouldn't trade it for anything. So if I was in control of the outcome, like, genuinely, which again, like, I think is not possible, but I definitely tried, who knows what I would have got instead. And I just get the sense that I wouldn't have liked it as much. Like, this is a very happy surprise that I am where I am right now. And I'm as conscious as I'm able to be, like I was talking about last week. And just able to wake up every day with this perspective and like kind of go out there, try my hardest at school and relationships and coaching and like, you know, making new friends and different things, and having the opportunity to try and improve and grow as a human being is something I currently value that I really didn't know. Once again, like, didn't know that I would value. I think for some periods of time, we may tend to shy away from these challenges, just wanting to be comfortable, wanting to heal. And it's funny that I said the word heal, because healing, unfortunately, for many people, including myself, does not seem to happen in isolation. There is an aspect of it where, again, like, to fight corruption, you start inside within you, but then you also have to go out and test yourself. You have to measure yourself against the hardest challenges that you can possibly muster. Possibly like gain the courage to put yourself up against. And without those challenges, I genuinely believe that your healing will be incomplete. And that's why I had a good chat with a new friend last night, and I think the United States is in a frustrating place for a lot of people, no matter what political party you're with. The other side feels somewhat impossible to work with, and it's frustrating. I think people genuinely want to just have the best outcomes. And I think the hardest thing as a singular person is to kind of relinquish control and maybe understand that we don't know what the best outcome is. We think we do, but maybe we don't. Maybe we don't have enough information. And it's funny because we see so much information now with the internet and everything and the way we share news that maybe we think we're smarter than we actually are, more tapped in than we actually are, when in reality we still are only seeing less than 1% of the picture. So to me, that seems like the way forward, is trying to understand that and just do our best with what we have. Like, it doesn't mean you give up trying to make an impact, but maybe it means that we focus more on a specific area. So that is maybe a takeaway for today, is improving the area around you. Kind of talked about Jordan Peterson before on the podcast. He does say, clean your room. If you want to point your finger at the outside world, you better be squeaky clean before you start doing that. And I've definitely found a lot of use in that when I get frustrated about something outside my control. You know, to bring the focus back to yourself and your integrity, and say, all right, where are my cracks? You know, how can I fill those in? How can I double down on myself and my values? And lead from a place of love. Again, doing it from love. You know, put yourself in the best place possible. Make yourself into a proper servant of the greater good, and give it your best, and just reiterate. Take the feedback, take the lumps, keep it moving, because again, your healing will not happen in isolation. And it is scary. It requires a great measure of courage to measure yourself and maybe fall short sometimes. But if you never fall short, you're never going to achieve what it is that you're going to set out to achieve. So with that, I feel like I rambled there for a second, maybe lost the lost the lead a little bit. There's just a lot swirling around in this brain after this week. I'm excited to unwind, go to the show tonight, get some rest this weekend, and get back to it next week in school. Thankfully, no exams in the way that I took them today. So with that, I will leave you. Actually, I don't have an additional quote, so I'm just going to leave you with those thoughts. Think about it. How can you generate more integrity in your life and be a better human to those immediately around you? I can tell you from experience, having played both sides of that fence, it is worth it. Even just making someone feel something for 30 seconds in a passing moment is 100% worth it. Make their day better, and maybe even, set something off in them that helps them show up better in the world too. And it becomes infectious, contagious. Maybe not the word contagious. It's not the best word, especially shortly after the era of COVID-19 and after studying all these infectious diseases in microbiology. But as my favorite sports guy says, be a friend, tell a friend something nice, might change your life. I'm gonna steal that from Pat McAfee. Love him or hate him, College Game Day's ratings are way up, and I'm excited for this week's episode. So again, until next time, this is Blaine, and I'm out.